Alhamdulillah, Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen, wa salatu wa salam ala khatam al-anbiya, ashraf al-mursaleen, wa ala alihi wa ashabi ajma'in, amma ba'd. One of the things I've really been slacking upon due to some travel and things have been these book unboxing videos, but I'm going to make up for it with an amazing unboxing today. Now this book is something really special. I'll give you a hint first. It's written by a contemporary scholar, a scholar that I had the pleasure of sitting with and studying with, and alhamdulillah, I have my own accreditations from this particular scholar. And the subject is such that it's a very interesting subject. It is about, let me open it for you. I'm not going to tell you, all right? Let's go. So, Bismillah. You got to be careful because you don't want to scratch up books. All right. Now, the book is a small book. It's a big box because it has many in it. This is the legislated method for treating magic and the evil eye, the ayn and sihr, things that many people struggle with. And in the Western countries, I know it's somewhat ignored. Like a lot of times, people are going to the issue of having evil eye, the ayn, which we know is haqq, we know it's true from the Quran, from Sahih Ahadith, and people don't diagnose it, people don't treat it, and then many people go to mental hospitals or they go to doctors who then kind of just say, we don't know what's wrong with them, and just put them on medication. The ayn, hasad, jealousy, the evil eye, magic, it's real. We're not talking about sleight of hand and things like this. We're talking about people that really use some dark stuff. Having said that, many times people blame too much on it. And sometimes you get a cold, you're like, it's magic. Like, no, it's just a cold. Sometimes, something happens and it doesn't go the way you wanted it to go. You're like, it's magic. Well, no, not necessarily. So you always have to have that balance. Yes, we recognize that these evil forces, like the jealousy, the ayn, the evil eye is there. We know from Sahih Ahadith, there were Sahaba that went through this, and Rasulullah taught us how to protect ourselves. And we know from the Quran there are certain verses, certain ayat, certain surah, chapters that specifically deal with this, like the Mu'awwidhatayn, Qul a'udhu birabbil falaq and Qul a'udhu birabbin nas. We know from Sahih Ahadith they were used to protect against magic and the evil eye and so on. But how do you do that correctly? Meaning, you have a lot of books that talk about, take mud and sprinkle this in it and then jump upside down, kind of weird stuff. But that's not in the Quran, that's not in the Sahih Ahadith. So one of the great contemporary scholars, Hafadhahu Allah, may Allah protect him, Shaykh Aminullah al-Peshawari, he wrote a Risala. Originally, it was written in Pashto, in the language of Pashto. And alhamdulillah, my wife actually translated it from Pashto to English. I went over the ahadith with her, and alhamdulillah, to ensure that there is a checking of all of the ahadith. And our brothers at Darul Arqam, may Allah reward them, are the United Kingdom, they have printed it. So now it's available to you in English. Alhamdulillah, we did this waqf lillahi subhanahu wa ta'ala, just for the sake of Allah. But if somebody does want to buy a copy from Darul Arqam, I'll put a link to their website in the description, so you can get one. Even though from our side, from me and my wife's side, alhamdulillah, this is something that was done for the sake of Allah. There is the translator's note, there is the biography of the actual author, Shaykh Abu Muhammad Aminullah al-Peshawari, and past that, there is the actual book. This is a direct translation, so this is not a commentary. It's a straight translation of his work. The ahadith, the ayat and ahadith that are mentioned, there is the checking on the bottom. So you'll see the rawaya where it's mentioned. For example, here it mentions Sunan al-Nisa'i, hadith number 1335, Sunan Abi Dawud, hadith number 1523, At-Tirmidhi, hadith number 2903. Uqba bin Amir said that the Prophet ﷺ ordered him to recite the last 3 surah of the Quran after every prayer. So when a hadith is mentioned, the reference to the hadith is given here. Sometimes in the matan, in the actual text itself, as the Shaykh may have mentioned it, and if he didn't, then in the checking it is given. ayat of Quran, the references are given as well. So it's a handy book based on the Quran, Sahih Ahadith, and the ijtihad of this great scholar on what is the correct shari'i, and in the legislated way, what is ordained in Islam on how to protect yourself from magic and evil eye. A great little book available in English now, alhamdulillah. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to accept it from the author and from the translator and from the publishers. Jazakumullahu khairan.